We've actually been fortunate enough to put together 50,000 acres at Coonamble, and it's been a very successful venture for us. We've only been here 18 years and predominantly cropping mixed with sheep and cattle. We're in the second year with this new no-till planting, and there's no doubt with any machine there is some learning, and I call it cunning. To get the best out of it, you need experience with it. And our second year into it, I believe we're a lot more successful this year. We've decreased the pressure on the press wheels. We've been very precise about how deep we put the seed to get it out of the ground quickly and to get the crop on the road as fast as we can. We're standing in a barley crop here that was direct drilled into drought-ravaged grassland, pasture land, trying to salvage something quickly for the balance of my stock, and it's so successful, anyone saw it, well, there'd be no other way to plant a fodder crop. Depth control is so vital in all these modern wheats that we've been given to grow, which they're bred from our American or Mexican dwarf wheats. But the coleoctile on them is not like the old wheats we grew 30 and 40 years ago. They're very soft, and if you plant them too deep, they struggle to find the light, and half the time they turn yellow and twist over and never make it. But with this controlled planter with the press wheel, we're absolutely staggered. I've had people with me digging with pocket knives, and it doesn't matter what part of the paddock you go, that we've selected matchbox depth, which is about 1 3/4 to 2 inches, and you'll always find the seed there. There's no ifs and buts about it. It's precisely planted, and I've been searching for quite some years now, trying to find something where we can control depth. We've tried all sorts of methods, but they've failed. Our heavy black soil tends to want to grab our chisel type tines and drag them into the ground, and the flotation on some of the planters we've used are limited. They sink, and the tractor operators, you can't blame them. It's just not possible to plant the seed at the controlled depth. But with this new planter, when you set the depth and control that ratio between the planting tool and the press wheel, that's where it stays until you have a deterioration in soil conditions, and you've got to make some alterations then. But if the conditions are right, for the first 10 days you're planting, just go like hell and plant it. The paddock that the planter's working in at the moment, I feel a bit ashamed. It's on the main road. It's not that nice carrot bed preparation. It's a little bit rough. It was sprayed. There is still a bit of green rubbish laying around it, but I'm comfortable that all this pretty paddock is not necessary. We don't need that. We just need no competition for the wheat plant, and the advantage of being able to plant it at the right depth. And we are limited now with seasonal conditions deteriorating, but this paddock is going to come up, which with no other machine that I've got on the farm, I could not get that crop out of the ground. So I will get it out of the ground with a multiplanter. Yes, we'll be looking at probably another couple of multiplanters. Cash flow is always a problem, to make these huge investments. They're not giving them to us, they're very expensive. But that part doesn't frighten me. Crop loss frightens me more than the price of a correct planter. If you haven't got the right planter, well, the option was probably pretty disastrous, and the money you lose. And on an our-sized operation, you couldn't, there's nobody that could judge it, when you plant 30-odd thousand acres of wheat. If it was $10 an acre difference in the wheat crop, you know, that'd certainly buy a couple of multiplanters, but the risk is too great not to plant the wheat correctly, not to invest in one of them in this new type of planting we've gone into is no-till, because we can't do it with any other machine. There's no machine on the market that I've looked at. I've looked at 5 machines, and I don't say that they're all not suitable here. Some of them may have been. We did have some demos, and I didn't think they were the right machine. And after a lot of consideration and watching my neighbour having huge successes, we decided we better get one pretty quickly, and it wasn't long we had the second one. And if we continue this size operation, we probably need four planters to do it, to get it into that May window. Well, labour, that is one of the great things that I'm excited about is I'm not condemning labour, you know, we all need labour, whatever we do, but the less labour we have, the less the risk is of malfunction. And as you can see, I'm probably getting near to my wheat growing time, but I believe with this new system, mentally I can handle planting a lot of wheat without too much stress and probably last another 7 or 8 years. And before, where we had 16 or 18 men round sowing time, that was very stressful for me. And in that sort of a football side, well, you have a lot of people that probably aren't quite suitable to that game, but with this new idea we can actually select our people that are quite good at their job and take the worry out of it. We don't have any more of that stress. And that's pretty important when you've got seasonal conditions and costs, and you don't want too much labour problem. You know, you'd nearly go out of cropping, you know, if you've got too much labour stress. But this is so easy. It's just the ultimate to go back into farming and enjoy it. I enjoy farming, you know, it's easy. It's taken all that workload out for me, and I'm quite excited about it, and just like jumping in the tractor myself and going planting because I know it's working.